Hello friends, how are you this evening? I hope you're doing well. I am coming to you from the dark because I keep coming up with ideas for videos and then I don't have time to film them because it gets dark too early and then I forget about them by the next day. So I thought I would just use a little flashlight and answer a question that someone asked once again, and I want to answer it for everybody because I think it was a good question, and I have an answer for it. And the question was, did I think that the relationship between myself and my mother was a better relationship, or the relationship between my mother and her mother? And I answer the question in the comments to the last video that I made, and the video is called... I will put the name of the video right here because I cannot remember it right now. And long story short on that, I would say that my relationship with my mother was not as good as the relationship that she had with her mother because her mother was at least a provider. Another thing is her mother was not actively looking to see her suffer. She was just very difficult, very stubborn, kind of a rebel, and very easy to shut down. So that was the problem with their relationship. My mother is kind of like a very vindictive, kind of sneaky, meaner type of person. She's very much like my grandmother's sister, her aunt. Those two are very similar. And then my grandmother had her issues, but she was at least a provider, which my mother was not. But I want to answer the question here because I go into great detail, not only about my relationship with my mother, but my mother's relationship with her mother. And I go into the entire, basically my direct family tree on both sides. I even get into why my father ended up the way that he did. And basically, I have been some sort of pathologist, sort of like I forensically go back in people's lives, basically based on my interactions and the stories that they've told and the people that I watch them become. Because my parents were both teens when I was born. And I believe that a lot of the reason why my mother had such animosity towards me was because she was a teen when I was born, and she somehow blamed me for taking her youth from her or taking her innocence when she didn't even look out for me. My grandmother took care of me all of the time, and she never, ever missed anything because of me. There wasn't a single thing that she ever missed out on in her life because I was around. Not at all. My grandmother would never have it. So she just wanted to find a reason to be just kind of wenchy. And that's just how she is towards everybody. To this day, I don't even know if a single member of her family speaks to her. It's just because the behavior never changed over the course of all the years. And I watched the woman grow since she was 17 years old. Now, I know. And I was paying attention to everyone in my family. And the book that I wrote is 842 pages. And I do a deep dive. I go into a little bit of detail here, but I go into a much deeper dive in the book. I break down the psychology of all of these types. And I've done this for people who might have interacted with these types, who might not really understand them. Or for people who don't even want to, but they need to. And that is why I've written the book. And I hope that people who need it find it very soon. I just wanted to add one more thing, and I am not saying this in any way to justify anybody's actions, including my own, but I have mentioned this before in videos, and if you have been following along here at all, and you have heard any of the excerpts that I have read from the book or read any of the excerpts that I have posted on my tumblr.com from the book, you might know that this is true. There is no one in my family, not my mother, father, grandmothers, no aunts, nobody, no one. Bless you, boo. And I mean no one in my family who has more of a vicious tongue and who speaks in a more aggressive or derogatory tone towards other people than me. And I have always used that as a defense mechanism. My heart is my weapon and my voice is my shield. So anytime anyone ever has threatened me in a physical way, I have always used my voice to put them down. And every time when I was an older child, all the times when my father got physically aggressive with me, it was because I said something that he did not like and I didn't back down. And then one time when I was older, we got into a verbal disagreement and he wanted to take it to a physical level and I fought back. And that was when he stopped bothering me at all, because he knew that there was nowhere for him to go. So after that time, every single time we got into any kind of kerfuffle, he just walked away. And I might be one of the only people, maybe the only person that he ever did that with in his life. But he just knew also, because he was my maker in a way, what I was capable of, because he knew who he was. There you go. And the funny thing is, the person with the vicious mouthpiece in my family was actually my great-grandmother, the one that I spoke about in the book with the tattoo of the Native American eagle all over her chest. Apparently, she used to make sailors blush with the way that she could put curse words together. And ironically enough, my dad does have a very bad mouth, but he uses it more as like a social thing to like try and get attention. Nobody else even curses in my family. I'm the one who just pops off. And I'm not saying that to justify anybody's actions towards me, but in case anybody maybe looks at me and wonders, how is this girl still so tough? How does she still have so much confidence? Please know that nobody, not even when I was a little kid, I never let anybody get one over on me. Once I realized that my father was a liar, I used to correct him all the time in front of people when he lied. I'd be like, that's not true. And that's what used to get me in a lot of trouble, was the fact that I would be telling the truth over his lies in public. And that's people, like I said, people like him don't like exposure. And when I was really young, I didn't do it because I was trying to be combative. I just wanted the truth out there. And I'm still like that to this very day, which is why I wrote the memoir, Dark World Light Work. I will never change. And I have never, ever been offended and not gotten my lick back one way or another. Even when I was abducted from my home by a militia, lit them up and read them to filth the entire time. Like, if I had a baseball bat, I bashed the fuck out of their skulls the entire time, and I never let up. And I never will. And I've also mentioned this before. The whole book is basically about me using my voice in a way that is completely legal, and then having people retaliate against me physically because of something that I said. The government did this. The woman who abducted my grandmother did this. My own mother did this. My father did this. Throughout my entire life, there is a constant theme. And that theme has been people retaliating against me in a physical way or in an actual way, in a way that is tactile, for things that I said. And that is wholly unfair, because the true victory goes to the person who is the most intellectual, because they can put somebody in their place without having to touch them. And therefore, I win. And when you go outside of that to try and harm somebody because they beat you in an intellectual way, you are now a complete piece of shit. I don't know how else to put that. That's the best way to put it. And that's when spiritual energy, higher source power comes in to set things right by way of karma for the offender and dharma for the person who was offended. Just wanted to add that as well. And thank you once again for the question. I love you. Bye. Why do the buys always have to be so silly? Because that's just me, baby. Oh my God. Bye.